When it comes to in-ear buds, having a limited budget doesn't mean you have to make compromises on either features or sound quality. And to prove my point, I'm going to show you 5 earbuds under the $100 mark with excellent performances across the board. Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. My name is Andy and you're watching Andy's Tech Tone. Now let's see which 5 earbuds I believe to be worthy of your attention in this price bracket. We got the Earfun Air Pro 4, the Nothing Ear A, the Sony WF-C700N, the Soundcore Liberty 4NC, and the Soundpeats Capsule3 Pro Plus. As far as their price, you can get any of the 5 earbuds for around $90 to $100 at the time of making this video. But for actual prices, discounts and availability, please check out the affiliate links in the description, and by clicking through those links, you might end up helping this channel a little at no extra cost to you. And while you are at it, you can also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. Thanks very much. But back to the earbuds, let's see how they stack up, starting with their design and fit. To my surprise, 4 out of the 5 have a stem-style design, which is an interesting turn of events, as in the same comparison I did in 2023, there was only one with a stem. But seeing how comfortable all these buds are, I'm actually not that surprised. The Sony C700, the only one without a stem, was featured in that comparison last year as well, and it finished last in the comfort test, and I'm afraid that due to its deep-sitting nature in the ear canals, this is not going to change this time around either. As for the other 4, there is hardly any difference I could find, but if I had to pick a winner, that would either be the Liberty 4NC or the Nothing Ear A. But both the Soundpeats and the Earfun are close seconds. Earfun gives us the most amount of silicone ear tips in the box, namely 5 sets. The Soundcore buds come with 4, while all the others have 3 pairs each. In terms of overall build quality, all these buds are made from plastic, of course, and I see no real differences in how well they are put together, so I would say these are all great across the board. All 5 earbuds weigh in at just under or slightly over the 5 grams mark, so again, no big gaps there either. My personal preference is the matte coating such as what the Soundpeats and the Sony buds come with, but the glossy ones seem to work just as well. And speaking of coating, in case you were wondering about the color options, the Soundpeats buds are only available in this matte black shiny golden dual tone colorway, the Earfun buds are available in either black or white, and so are the Nothing Ear A with an extra option of this bright yellow. The C700 comes in 4 different colors, and Soundcore can offer you no less than 5 different looks. I tested all earbuds for running as well, and all of them can get the job done thanks to their secure enough fit, except for maybe the Capsule3 Pro Plus, which is somewhat more loose than the others. Not that you cannot do casual activities or even jogging with these buds, but I would leave it to the other 4 to handle any kind of a rigorous exercise. And on the note of exercise, the Nothing buds are the only ones offering a dust and splash-proof IP54 rating, while the Earfun buds are IPX5 rated, with the other 3 being IPX4 only. Which basically means that all of them are at least somewhat sweat and rainproof. The only carry case with any sort of a rating is the Nothing, and its IPX2 badge means that this case is officially rainproof to some extent. And probably the Nothing case is also the most fresh and unique looking of them all, thanks to its see-through lid. It's also the slimmest and most pocket-friendly of the bunch. What I noticed, however, is that both the lid and the case are full of scratch marks only after a couple of days of use, and the glossy coating all over the case can get a bit slippery at times. But the Nothing case is the only one with red and white color-coded dots on both the buds and on the inside of the case, clearly making the right and left side respectively, improving everyday usability. So to be honest, I'm not sure where to rank that case, as it's kind of a mixed bag. The Sony and the Soundpeats cases look boring, but their matte coating gives you a solid grip, and their lids are also sturdy and springy, giving you flap-free access to the earbuds. And while the Earfun and the Soundcore cases are the thickest of the bunch, these are the only 2 that support the Qi wireless charging standard. And the Soundcore case has another unique feature, as it can be opened with a push of a button, giving you plenty room for taking the buds out or putting them back in. And even though my wife has been using these buds on the daily for a year now, the Soundcore case has less visible marks on it than the one from Nothing after only a couple of days. So while I found ranking these cases to be hard, here we go. Soundcore is first, nothing is last, with everything else in between these two, but depending on your needs, your use cases, or simply your personal taste, it could easily be anything else, to be honest, so your mileage might vary. And since I mentioned wireless charging, let's talk about battery life next. Soundcore is leading the pack with around 8 hours of single charge playtime. Then comes Earfun and Sony with 7.5 hours each, followed by Nothing with 5.5 hours. That's with ANC turned on. Soundpeats claims 6.5 hours of battery life on their website, but it's in normal mode, which means ANC turned off, so it must be performing worse than that with the ANC enabled, which puts them in last place. The total playtime with ANC on varies from around 40 hours with the Soundcore buds to 15 hours with the Sony C700. Again, Soundpeats did not bother sharing this information officially. The 43 hours is in normal mode, which puts them in the same ballpark with the Nothing Ear A. After running out of juice, all the cases can fast charge the batteries in 10 minutes, except for the Soundpeats, which does not offer such feature. If we consider all that and the fact that Soundcore and Earfun are the only two cases that support wireless charging, it's clear that these two are the winners of the battery life test. When it comes to wireless connectivity, I did not experience any major connection hiccups, dropped signals, or lip-sync issues with any of the buds during my tests. And all 5 earbuds can offer the must-haves such as support for the AAC and SBC audio codecs, dual device connection aka multi-point use, and single bud mode. But there are also some differences, with the clear winner being the Earfun Air Pro 4. These are the only earbuds that support the LDAC, the aptX Adaptive, the aptX Lossless, and the LC3 audio codecs, along with LE Audio and Auracast, on top of all the basics I just mentioned. As for dual device connection, it gets disabled with the LDAC codec in use, but it's available with both LC3 and aptX. The Earfun smartphone app allows you to switch between all previously connected devices manually, and there is also a low latency game mode switch and Google Fast Pair support. I don't know any other earbuds that would give you such a comprehensive set of wireless features regardless of price. The second must be the Nothing Ear A with LDAC, multipoint, low latency, Google Fast Pair and Windows Swift Pair support. The Nothing X app also gives you a list with previously connected devices, and these buds can be used with LDAC and multipoint enabled at the same time. Next on the list is the Liberty 4NC with pretty much the same functionality as the Nothing Ear A, with two tiny differences. One, the Soundcore buds do not support Windows Swift Pair, and second, the Liberty 4NC will not allow you to use both LDAC and multipoint simultaneously. The Capsule3 Pro Plus comes with LDAC support, but again, it will be disabled in multipoint mode. There is no list of connected devices or manual switching in the app either, but there is a game mode switch. And since I believe that most people can potentially benefit more from having a multi-device connection list with the option to switch back and forth between different sources manually, I would rank the Sony buds in front of Soundpeats, even though the C700s have neither LDAC nor do we have a low latency switch in the Sony Sound Connect app. The C700 is also Google Fast Pair compatible, while the Capsule3 Pro Plus is not.
Now let me give you a few audio samples from the built-in microphones, starting with the Earfun Air Pro 4. So this is the phone call quality you can expect from these earbuds when making a phone call in a quiet room.
Next up is the Nothing Ear A. So this is an audio sample from the built-in microphones on these earbuds in a quiet room. Moving on to our next audio sample, this is the phone call quality you can expect from the built-in microphones on the Sony WF-C700N in a quiet room. Now let's hear another audio sample. This time it's from the built-in mics on the Soundcore Liberty 4NC. So this is the phone call quality you can expect from these earbuds in a quiet room. And before we move outside, this is our last audio sample from a quiet room, giving you an idea of what phone call quality you should expect from the Soundpeats Capsule3 Pro Plus earbuds in such conditions. Now let's add some noise.
This is an audio quality test of the built-in microphones on the Earfun Air Pro 4 outside with some traffic noise in the background. This is the audio quality of the built-in microphones on the Nothing Ear A outside with some traffic noise in the background. This is an audio quality test of the built-in microphones on the Sony WF-C700N outside with some traffic noise in the background. This is an audio quality test of the built-in microphones on the Soundcore Liberty 4NC outside with some traffic noise in the background. This is an audio quality test of the built-in microphones on the Soundpeats Capsule3 Pro Plus outside with some traffic noise in the background.
Onto the controls, we can find some variation there. Before we get into that though, one thing is common, and it's that all earbuds can control media playback with volume, phone calls and ambient modes. How each can handle these tasks, however, is where we can see some differences. The Sony buds, for example, are the only ones in this group that use pressable physical buttons which work well for the most part. I like how tactile their feedback is. We also get prompt reaction times and some remapping options in the Sony app. My only gripe with the C700 controls, other than not having autoplay pause, is that I kept pressing on the button accidentally when swapping the earbuds during my tests, and since we cannot select and change the functionality of the individual pressing actions, there is no option to disable the single press either. And this is something you can do in the Earfun, in the Soundcore and in the Peats audio apps. And it's not only that, but you also get full and unlimited remapping options on the Liberty 4 and C, on the Air Pro 4 and on the Capsule3 Pro Plus as well. It's hard to tell these three apart in terms of their touch controls. Each of them can register all tapping actions quickly and with decent enough accuracy. The only difference here is that the Soundcore and the Earfun buds come with wear sensors on board for automatic play and pause, but the Soundpeats buds do not. The Nothing Ear A buds also have in-ear sensors, but their pinch controls are not my favorite, simply because I find them a bit unpredictable and uncomfortable to use. The Force Touch panels are not nearly as sophisticated or well-tuned as those on the AirPods Pro 2 or the Soundcore Liberty 4 Pro. And swiping up and down for volume control is not an option here, as instead we can choose between pinch and hold or double pinch and hold, neither of which is as user-friendly or easy to use. So as far as controls, the first place is shared between the Soundcore and the Earfun buds, with the Capsule3 Pro Plus in second place, followed by the C700, which also comes without wear sensors, and I'm afraid that the pinch controls of the Nothing Ear A can only be at the bottom of this list. Next, let's see how the active noise cancelling works on each. Well, as far as their ANC prowess, I found the Liberty 4 and C and the Air Pro 4 to be the best, with the Soundcore buds having the best overall performance, especially when it comes to blocking out lower pitch hums and rumbles. The Earfun buds have a slight edge at higher frequencies and also have less of a white noise. Soundpeats is really close here, but it can only be third in the ranks. The C700 comes in fourth, losing points for its inferior low-frequency performance when compared to either the Earfun or the Soundpeats. But the Sony buds produce the least amount of hiss out of all five, and that might be something you find important. The Nothing buds finished last in my ANC tests, and that's because they do not only let more rumbling noises through, but the white noise levels are also much higher than that of the Earfun or the Soundpeats, for example. As for their transparency, I would rank the balanced but intense sound of the default mode on the Air Pro 4 first. And even though one might find it a bit fatiguing in the long run, you also get a natural mode in the app, which tones down the highs a little, making it a touch more, well, natural, I guess. The Sony comes second with its thin but clear sound. There is plenty white noise there, but we got a 1 to 20 slider in the app for fine adjustments, along with a voice mode which gives the mids a bit of a boost. The ambient mode on the Liberty 4 and C is more muted and toned down compared to both the Sony and the Earfun, with more hiss than the Air Pro 4 but less than the C700. The Nothing buds are also a bit muted and they sound rather thin, and there are no manual settings or extra modes to play with. One good thing about the ambient mode here is the relatively low levels of white noise. Last, there are the Soundpeats buds with their muffled and bassy sound and the complete lack of modes or settings. Wind noise is handled the best by the Earfun and the Soundcore buds with wind noise reduction enabled on both. It's the Nothing Ear A that picks up the least amount of that whooshing noise out of the other three, which come without an optional wind noise cancelling mode. Next is Soundpeats, while the microphones on the Sony buds seem to be the most prone to picking up wind noise with no options in the app to tweak it, therefore they finish last. Next up, let's talk about the smartphone apps. All 5 buds come with a companion app for both Android and iOS. Each of the 5 apps can deliver all the basics you would expect, such as ANC settings, custom controls, sound profile presets, manual EQ settings, and firmware upgrades. And as far as the extra features go, the Peats audio app seems to be the least generous here. We get a dual device connection and a game mode switch, but that's practically it. The 10-band manual EQ, however, works really well. And speaking of manual EQ, this is where the Nothing X app delivers a fresh and visually different approach. Not sure I like this 3-band EQ solution myself, but you might prefer playing around with it over the more traditional ones with those sliders. In the Nothing X app, we also got an LDAC switch, an in-ear detection switch, a low latency mode switch, a dual connection menu with a list of previously connected sources, an ear tip fit test, and Find My Earbuds, where you can ping each bud in case you misplace them. So it's a decently feature-stacked app. But with the Sony Sound Connect app, you also get some premium features, such as adaptive sound control, which can automatically apply different ambient mode and sound profile presets based on your location or activity. Then there is 360 audio, even though its use is limited to certain applications, the DSEE audio upscaler, or the auto power off timer. But since the Air Pro 4 buds offer the widest range of connection and audio codec options, we get plenty of settings to manage all that in the Earfun app. Well, at least on Android, where all these codecs are available. There is a menu to choose between LDAC and aptX, another menu where LD audio can be enabled, and there is a separate one with the list of previously connected devices. Find headphones, a game mode switch, and an in-ear detection switch are available as well. I also like the fact that you can turn down the volume of the voiced prompts, which is something that I would want in the Nothing X app, for example, as those voice prompts we get on the Nothing Ear Buds are a bit annoying in my opinion. The Soundcore app stands out from the crowd with its Hear ID feature, which runs both a hearing test and a sound preference test to tailor the response curve to your ears. Safe Volume can track and limit the exposure of your ears to high volumes, protecting your hearing in the long run. And then there is a lot more, like autoplay pause, game mode, an auto power off timer, find device, and a list of connections where we can manually switch between all available sources in multipoint mode. So it's no question that the Soundcore app is ranked first, followed closely by Earfun Audio and Sound Connect from Sony, only then come the Nothing X and the Peats Audio. And while Soundpeats might not be the best as far as software features, the Capsule3 Pro Plus buds are clearly my favorites as far as their sound quality. I tested all the earbuds with their flat or default EQ settings, with ANC turned on, and with the best quality codec available on each, streaming lossless music from Apple Music on Android. And with the Soundpeats buds, we get a unique dual driver setup consisting of a traditional 12mm dynamic driver and a solid-state XMEMS micro speaker. And it proves to be a killer combo as far as a sophisticated sound is concerned. The bass is snappy and lean with no overhang. Other buds such as the Soundcore or the Earfun might beat it in terms of sub-bass extension, but I love how punchy the bass is without bleeding into the upper octaves. The mids are rich with forward enough vocals and natural sounding instruments. The treble has outstanding extension, there is loads of energy and musical detail we get up top. No harshness, no distortion. At or close to maximum volume, some poorly mastered songs can come across as hot or fatiguing, but using high quality sources will make everything sound just good. Separation is top of the class, and so is the almost holographic imaging and the 3-dimensional soundstage. So unless you are a basshead, these earbuds are the clear winners. But if you want more power in the lower octaves, then you should turn your attention towards the 11mm drivers inside the Liberty 4NC. The bass has excellent extension and a substantial kick. It might be a touch more powerful and more thumping than what I personally like, but it's kept under control relatively well. We also get a nice presence in the mids with the natural and clean sounding vocals and detailed instruments, but again, the clarity is just a step behind of what the Capsule3 Pro Plus can deliver across the mid-range. The treble has a good extension up top, but the separation is rather average, and so are the dimensions of the soundstage. The overall sound is dynamic and a bit bass-heavy, suitable for modern musical genres. And I believe that we got the best EQ options from Soundcore in their app, so you might want to play around with those for a while if you want to bring out a top performance from the Liberty 4NC. The Earfun Air Pro 4 have 10mm drivers and the bass comes through with a dominant force. However, it's not quite as thumping as the Soundcore. Clarity is good across the mid-range with a rich and warm tonality overall. The instruments are not quite as detailed and the vocals are not quite as forward as on the Soundpeats, but the mids here are a bit more open than on the Soundcore buds. The treble is also more sparkling and detailed with better extension and separation, but there is less energy and less air in the upper octaves than what the Capsule3 Pro Plus has to offer. It's a bass-driven but a more or less balanced and fairly open sound, suitable for most musical genres. The Nothing Ear Earbuds come with 11mm drivers, a hefty but well-controlled bass, forward and open mids, and smooth highs. The overall sound is well balanced across the board, with a slight roll-off at the top, which makes the treble a touch more toned down. It makes everything sound a bit warm and pleasant, without any long-term fatigue. Imaging is good but not excellent, and the same applies to instrument separation. Turning on the bass enhance feature in the app will give a little extra boost to the bottom octaves, so if you want a more impactful bass, then it's definitely worth a try. The Sony C700s have 5mm drivers inside, which are the smallest of the group, but it doesn't mean we have to give up low bass extension. Okay, it might not be as impactful as that of the Soundcore or the Earfun, but these small drivers can clearly pack a punch. The mid-range is excellent too, vocals sound clear with good presence. The top end is warm and smooth, with not too much of an extension up top, so if you prefer an easy-to-listen to, sibilant-free sound, then you will like it a lot. If you however want all the micro details, dynamics and sparkle, then the C700 is probably not for you. Imaging is average and so is instrument separation, but the frequency response is kind of balanced, and with some clever EQing you can pump some extra energy into either the bottom or the top octaves to make everything sound a bit more exciting. So without actually ranking the earbuds, if you want a balanced and smooth sound, then you should get either the Nothing Ear A or the Sony C700. If you are more of a bass junkie, then both the Earfun and the Soundcore can deliver that extra adrenaline you need. But if you enjoy a well-sculpted open and airy presentation with pinpoint imaging, then go for the Capsule3 Pro Plus. And to conclude this video, looking at the rankings in each of the categories, I will have to say that the winners are either the Soundcore Liberty 4NC or the Earfun Air Pro 4. These two buds delivered the most consistent performance across all tests and all categories. These two are the most feature-rich, these two have the best ANC, these two have the longest battery lives and also the best smartphone apps. Both have a dynamic and punchy sound, but maybe I prefer the less bass-heavy and slightly more open approach of the Air Pro 4. And that wireless chip on board the Earfun buds is the most powerful and the most future-proof of them all, and not only in this price bracket I might add. So I guess we have our winner after all. What happens in the rankings behind these two, however, is not quite that straightforward. I could put the Nothing Ear Earbuds on the podium thanks to their fresh, comfy and practical design, along with the great wireless features, but then the Sony WF-C700 comes with a better app, more reliable plastic buttons and a better ANC. So it could easily be a toss-up between these two, but I will choose the Ear A over the C700 only because of their better long-term comfort and their better wind noise performance. And that leaves us with the Capsule3 Pro Plus, which finishes last in this test. Soundpeats clearly put most of their efforts into creating a set of excellent sounding earbuds here, and they probably ran out of budget before they could add all the fancy features. But we still got all the basics we need, and again, if it's the sound quality alone that matters to you, these buds are impossible to beat. And they would still be hard to beat if they cost much more than just $100. And that was my take on these under $100 earbuds. And as you can see, all of these 5 buds can deliver on all fronts, so you don't have to skimp on features or sound quality, even if you are on a tight budget. Speaking of which, this video was not sponsored, and I bought the Sony and the Nothing buds with my own money, while I got the other 3 from their respective manufacturers for testing. No one has seen this video before I shared it with you, and of course no one paid me a single penny or influenced me in forming my opinion. But I will ask you again to consider using the affiliate links in the description below if you want to help me making more of these comparisons on the channel. Also, please share the video and hit the subscribe button if you liked it. Now let's continue the discussion in the comment section. Thanks for watching everyone, hope to see you all in the next one.